Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everybody, welcome back to X-Plane 10. Once again, we're going to be flying the King Air B200 by Coronado down to Nashville today. I've got pretty much everything ready to go, other than we need to start the engine up, or start the airplane up, get it all fired up. We're going to do Turbo 7 departure out of St. Louis. We're just using the on-field VOR called the Cardinal VOR with Charlie Sierra X-Ray. And we're going to use the 143 outbound radial from it to go to Gents intersection. And from Gents, we'll be right by Nashville, and we can decide if we want to shoot an ILS approach. We can want to do a visual, yada, 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 yada. But we have pretty much clear skies on the way down there. Winds are just slightly out of the north at 7 knots. 10 to 2 miles of visibility. Supposed to be a really nice day of flying. So let's get inside and get this thing going. I'd like to welcome you aboard this Beechcraft B200 King Air. Let's have a look down here what's going on. We have everything completely shut off. Pretty simple to start this thing and get her on her way. We'll turn the battery on. There she goes. Make sure all these lights and stuff are all off. Oops, none of those, none of those, none of those. Okay. And bleed airs are off and everything. Okay. So battery's on. Now we just want to turn our... we can turn our avionics master switch if we want on. Let's go ahead and do that so we can see everything. Let the Avidyne system warm up. And I pretty much have the GPS ready to go with today's flight. Let's get the airplane fired up first, and then we'll deal with the all the flight instruments, which we have everything pretty much set to where they need to be. We'll go props forward. And we'll keep our condition levers on. Fuel cutoff for now. We'll go into low idle once we get to about 30% on the turbines, and keep an eye on ITT and all that good stuff. So pretty simple to do. We just I don't know why those are all on. Okay. Well, the right we'll turn the right ignition on, and I have the this button over here, which is the ignition starter switch. I have that slaved to my CH throttle quadrant, so I'll just do it from there. And we can look at the airplane on the right side there, and we can also keep an eye on, oh, they want the inverter on. Okay, we can turn an inverter on. There we go, beautiful. And we can keep an eye on our instruments. So turning, let's go ahead and show you something really cool in this airplane. You can open these windows up, and it changes the sound. So we want to hear these starters clicking, because that's a really cool feature of a turboprop airplane. So let's keep an eye on our gauges and everything else. And beacon light on, nav light on, and turning 2. You can see the turbine starting to climb in RPM there. Once we get to about 30, we'll go ahead and introduce the fuel. 25 or so. That's probably good. There she goes. And then we just move that slowly into low idle so we don't get a hot start. And ignition off. There she goes. Climbing away. Excellent. And we'll look off on the left-hand side, and we'll do the same thing on the left. Once that gets stabilized, we'll go ahead and set the inverter. Starting 2, or 1. And beautiful. Keep on heading up. And introduce that fuel nice and slow. And we have a good start. Torque's climbing, all that good stuff. Engine spooling up. Beautiful. Love it. Prop sync is currently off. I do have a checklist laying around here somewhere, but I'm not really worried about it today. We're not going to be flying this to the T. I need to print them out so I can utilize them a little bit better. All right, we have 2 good engine starts. Let's go ahead and flip those generators on. Gen 1, Gen 2, both. That was Gen 2, Gen 1, actually. And battery off. Nice. Let's have a look at the annunciator. Left ignition on, bleed air off, right bleed air off. So we'll turn the bleeds on, right and left. And we can turn our ignitions off, right and left. And we can see the annunciator is indeed clear. So while we have this going, let's go ahead and get everything else ready to go. So we'll click on our GPS, make sure the flight plan looks good. We're going gents to Nashville, and that looks excellent to me. If you guys want to know how to do it, all you have to do is you go to flight plan, and then you would just hit the push cursor button here and use the dials, rotary dials, to dial in gents intersection. And why are we going to gents? Well, that's because that's part of the very last leg of the Turbo 7 departure out of St. Louis, and that's what we are doing. So that's all good to go. We can just pretty much turn on the taxi lights and get the hell on out of here. Let's set our flaps for approach. Set our trim, looks beautiful. Very nice. Let's go ahead and flip on the taxi light. And while we're sitting here, we'll test each one of these reversers, make sure they're working right. Let's do that. Let's flip this toggle reverse. Okay, yep. Reverse is working fine. And let's check our weather. Let's close these windows.
1900 Zulu weather. Sky conditions 25,000. Scattered visibility more than 10. Temperature minus 3.
Altimeter is 3054. So we'll set that to 3054. 234. 3054, and we'll depart on runway 30 right at Juliet intersection. And winds looks like they're pretty light and variable, so that's excellent to hear. Let's turn that off. We don't need to hear her the entire time. And let's taxi on out of here. Let's brakes release, and we can just give it a little bit of power. We don't need a lot. Let's get this sucker moving. And let's taxi over to runway 30 right. And as we're taxiing out, we can check our flight controls, make sure they're all feeling nice and good. Free and correct. Let's set our altitude today. It's going to be 17,000 feet. Let's continue to drive that thing up to 17. Don't pay attention to that taxi light. The way the scenery is done in X-Plane is kind of weird. I've worked on this Lambert quite a bit to try to get it pretty realistic. But the problem that you run into is that in their thing that's kind of like an AFCAT in FSX that just draws a lot of the information for the airport. I can't figure out how the polygons write themselves out so the taxi lights follow it. You got to try to find what node they're on. It's kind of a pain in the ass, so I don't do it that often. So yeah, that's why it's either just, it's either have taxi lights or no lights. So at night it makes more sense than it does during the day, I guess you could say. So we're almost here to 30 right at Juliet, which is a pretty common procedure that you see on turboprop airplanes at international airports doing intersection departures. And what I mean by that is we're here at Juliet Taxiway in this intersection. They call this an intersection departure if I take the runway. So we'll go full forward on the condition levers, and we'll line this sucker up. We can turn our landing lights on, turn our strobe light on. We'll leave the recogs off. No need for that right now. Beautiful. Line her up on the runway a little bit here. And we're pretty much ready to go. Flaps are set. Let's go a little bit of power here. Nice. Stabilized. And we'll set our takeoff power at about 93 on the turbines there, like that. All right, crossing 80 knots quickly. We'll get there in no time. And V1, rotate ever so slightly, and she just barely lifts off the runway. Very nice. Gear up, positive rate. Let's feel out the feeling out the trim there. It was a little too far back. My only peeve with this airplane is the fact that the trim is isn't so great. We go ahead and start our turn now. We want to pick up the radial of 143 on our outbound. from Cardinal VOR for the Turbo 7 departure. And we can clean these flaps up, which will drop our vertical speed down as we lose the lift that we no longer have. And we'll hold about 1,000 manually and get the, there we go, get the trim where it needs to be. A little down, a little further. Nice 30-degree bank, back around. And nice. Let's bring the nose down a little bit. A little too much of a climb there. Excellent. Cross to 2,300 feet. And we'll go ahead and pull our props back to 1,900 right now. Maintain speed so we can get a nice cruise climb going. We got a lot of speed, so it's not a big deal. Very nice. And let's fly a radial. Let's fly this heading about right here until we pick up that pick up the radial. We're hand flying her right now. No need to go crazy to autopilot yet, so we won't worry about that. And the VOR is actually on the field. It's right back there on the left of our wings, so we'll get this thing to register pretty quick, and then we'll fly the needle over, and we'll be 143 outbound on the Cardinal radial, or Cardinal VOR, sorry, to Gents intersection. And you can see here on the active flight plan, we can open that up. We click the flight plan, we'll back onto this. Distance to track is 360, so it's a bearing of 143. And there's the needle moving. So let's go ahead and turn on with it. Nice climb out of St. Louis today. There's downtown with the arch. A little harder turn. I was messing with the GPS, so I got a little sidetracked, which is fine. We're going to put it into a navigation mode. It's going to follow the radial. So we'll swing back around. We'll catch that radial once again and be on our way to Nashville finally. Easy on the controls. So maintain about 1,000 feet per minute on the climb. And there's the turn back over. This should get right onto this radial. It's a nice thing about hand flying the airplane. You can get right where you want it. And that's going to be beautiful right there. I made a modification to my SciTech yoke. I took one of the pitch springs out, and I removed the roll axis one, and I replaced that spring, the top spring on the pitch axis, onto my roll. It's in it now. It flies just like a real airplane. It's awesome. Quite awesome. Okay, let's get the autopilot going here. We'll do altitude select with a vertical. Actually, let's do altitude select with a vertical speed. 1,000 is beautiful. And we can put it into navigation mode and autopilot engage. Autopilot's going to catch that radial like it just did. And also 1,000 feet per minute climb rate. Very nice. We pull our power back just a tad more. We can get in that green arc. And now we can adjust for a cruise climb out of St. Louis. There's the new stadium, the Busch Stadium, the new Busch Stadium there. And then there's downtown, Highway 6440. And off our nose right there is it's Downtown Airport, Kilo Charlie Papa Sierra. That's the one you saw in my first video. It's a beautiful day, beautiful climb out, headed to Nashville. Okay, there's our altitude alert, just letting us know we're 300 away, about 400 away actually, from 17,000. So we're almost to 17,000 feet, which we are coming up on, and you can see the vertical speed is dropping like that, like it should. And we're going to be cruising here at 17,000 feet. We can go to our cruise power settings, so we can pull this back just a hair and make sure we have 1,900 on the props. About right there. So we maintain our nice speed. Beautiful. Not too much longer. With the Turbo 7 departure, we're at 44 right now, 44 miles from that. So we crossed over Zaraj back there at 41 nautical miles. And we'll be at Sport when we get to 54 nautical miles from the VOR. Since we're going outbound, so we count up. But Gents intersection is 76 miles from the Cardinal VOR. And then from there, we'll just go direct to Nashville. And we'll probably plan our descent right around there. While we are cruising along here at 17,000 feet, just about 68 miles from Cardinal, so we're getting closer to Gents within about 10, 15 miles here. I wanted to show you something what prompt sync is. You probably wonder what it was. I have it turned off. You can hear the engines oscillating, that whoa, whoa, whoa sound. When you're a passenger on one of these airplanes, it would be very annoying. So when we click this prop sync, watch what happens. Turn on the prop sync. They all come together and become a constant tone because there's no oscillation from the difference of the revolutions that the props are making out there. So that's what the prop sync does. I just wanted to show you. Okay, we're well past Gents, and we can go ahead and move over into GPS mode here and tell the autopilot we want it to go to nav mode, so it'll turn on to that GPS. And now we'll fly direct to Nashville. A small flight update for y'all. 32 minutes and 25 seconds en route still, so about 30 minutes of flying left. 128 miles to Nashville. So it's been just pretty boring just sitting here cruising at 17,000 feet. Not doing much, but the magic of editing, you don't have to wait that long, so that's awesome. I'll get in touch with you guys when we get closer to our descent. Well, while we're cruising along here, I'm going to go ahead and open the doors here and show you the cabin while we're not doing much. So let's stand up and let's walk back here. I showed some shots a little bit earlier from the cabin, but I was just going to actually show you what the whole thing looks like. There's some cup holders there on both sides. Continue to walk to the back. More cup holders, all that good stuff. And one thing that's really cool is these windows. You can grab these and you can spin them and give you tint on the windows. Really neat addition for any virtual passengers you may ever have. So we can walk all the way here to the back. There's another jump seat back here. That's where our attendant would hang out. Here's the door. And there is a light back here somewhere. This is where we would throw all the luggage from the people. Here's our little porthole you can look out of. There's the wing back there. And the river right there, actually. Spin back around, and we can see that the entire cabin is still all the way up here. Another porthole over here, or another window, per se. Let's stand back up and head back to the cockpit. It's really, really, really neat airplane, I've got to say. Really enjoy flying it a lot. All right, a nice flight update for you guys. 95.1 miles from Nashville, crossing over Kentucky Lake right now, actually. And Kentucky Lake is humongous. Actually, we're just about over the dam that's on the east side lake. And the whole land that's between the lakes there, it's pretty cool. I used to go down to Kentucky all the time with my grandmother and her friends, and we would stay the night in the land between the lakes here at this national forest down here. It's kind of where the two meet together. If you go down the lake, there's a inlet that kind of just goes across all the way, or channel, if you will. But just neat area down here. I love flying, and I haven't in this area, and I haven't seen it in X-Plane. It's the first for me, so I've only seen it in FSX, but this does it so much better justice. 78.6 and closing on the distance, so we're going to go ahead and start our descent now. To do that, we're just going to basically pull our engine power back until we achieve the same speed we're currently doing with about 1,000 feet per minute or less descent. So all we have to do is to set our altitude. Let's go down to about, I don't know, what do you think, 3,000 feet or so? Oh, no, the other way, bro. 3,000 feet, I think will be good. 3,000, where you at? Right there. You were there. You were there. You were close. There's 3,000 feet. Let's tell the autopilot altitude select, and let's go down. Let's go on down, and we'll pull our power back so we can achieve the same speed that we were cruising at on our descent. That's what we want to do. So keep pulling back a little bit more. And down one more hit. Beautiful. No, a little too much there. Let's go up one. So it looks like it's going to be 900 feet per minute or so. No, it's trying to figure out what it wants to do there. Let's go to vertical speed mode and down 900 feet per minute. That looks good to me. So we're on our way down. We want to maintain that 180, so we'll just add a little more power and we'll maintain what we were currently doing. But we're on our way for our initial descent into Nashville. Looking at the Nashville weather, showing wind 010 at 8 knots, so we'll shoot the 2 center visual approach. 10 to 2 miles of visibility. We got clear skies. Altimeter is going to be 3056, so we'll set that now, 3056. And bam. Oh, no, one more for it. Right there. It's your 3056 set. All right, cool. And we'll continue our set on down. (10,000 feet). Let's go ahead and turn our landing lights on. Get ready for the arrival into Nashville. And we can turn our prop sync off now. And we're going to be getting closer and closer. I know where the River Snake's back around. That's where Nashville will be, just to the right of that. So we're just showing about 45 miles from it still. And we can shallow up our descent now to about I don't know, 300 feet per minute. That's beautiful. All right, below 6,000 feet now, and that's downtown Nashville right there off to our right, and that's the Cumberland River, and we're just about to the airport. To be right off our nose here. Visibility dropped quite a bit. We're gonna shoot to center. So actually right now, for fun, we can just go ahead and move our heading bug to 020, so we know exactly where that runway heading is going to be. Looks good to me. So we'll fly into it at about a 45-degree angle. We'll shoot a left downwind for runway to center, and that will be that. So not too much further. We're just about, what is this saying, 8.8 miles from the airport right off our nose. So we'll be on the ground shortly. Okay, got the airport in sight now. We'll go autopilot off. I know it's loud, sorry. And we'll tell it that we know that we have that turned off. And we'll start our descent a little bit more rapidly. And let's push our props forward. And shoot the left downwind for runway to center. So not too much further to go. You can see the airport right off our nose there. Those That right there, just to the left of the airport light, is the cargo ramp. So there's the, off to the left of that is all the terminals and all the good stuff. So now we're just getting the airplane slowed up now so we can go to like approach settings on our flaps and get a little closer so we can shoot a proper left downwind for 2 center here. So not too much further to go. I'll just stay with you guys for now. And we're getting a little bit closer now. We'll start our left turn. Very nicely done. Very easy. Nice smooth movements on the controls. And we'll descend to about, I don't know, about 1,500 feet or so. And we can use all of our visual references since we are shooting a visual approach. There's the highway right there. And yes, which I believe is Highway 70 right there. And we're crossing over it now. And we're just going to use all of our visual cues to get lined up on this runway beautifully. We can use that little heading bug marker to know exactly where the reciprocal is. That's kind of a nice way to do that if you're new to flying. That helps you tremendously. Pulling our power back a little bit more. We want to get in that white arc so we can get to our approach flaps. Looks like a nice yep. A railroad yard off of our nose there on the right. Still looking beautiful here. And we're in a white arc. Let's go approach flaps. When we do that, we're going to get a lot of lift like that in drag at the same time. So I'll push my nose over a little bit. We're going to get that little bit of a bitching Betty because it doesn't like it to be in a certain range of power, which is kind of just to help you remember to add power when you're doing that. And we just used the left wing here. And we can see how the highways run there. So we'll plan our approach out pretty decently right past here and swing around and go down back around to the runway. That's all there is to it. We're still descending. We're kind of in a rocky area. Airport elevation is, I got to look that up really quick. I have it on my airport information, but I'm not worried about it. We're just visually flying right now, so I'm not going to overcomplicate things. There we go. We can start our base leg now. So let's just hand flyer back to the airport. We'll get on a nice base. About 20 degrees is all we need here. Still let the nose come down. We're a little high. All right. And once we level off here on our base leg, we'll have a look at the runway again. And then we can plan for our final approach. Don't want that thing to be bitching at us any more than it has to. There we are. Perfect. Right there. It's a nice base leg to runway 2 center. That's 2 center right there off of our tip. And you can see a lot of towers in this area, so we'll be mindful of that. And we'll start our turn just here in a second. About a few more roads here. Looking very nice. Bring our nose down. We'll start our turn. Let's go gear down. And once we get established here, about 120 knots. Very nicely done. Very nicely done, sir. Bring that nose up a little bit more. Have a look-see at our runway. And let's go landing flap. And bring that nose forward a little bit more. You got to compensate for that lift that it does give you. I think we're going to be a tad high, but we're fine here. If we just maintain about 1,000 feet per minute, a little bit more. Easier than that. There we go. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah. VASI's showing we're high. We know that. We want to get on a nice 3-degree glide path because of the all the towers along here. And we'll use our power setting as needed here. About 110 knots, 105 knots is looking really nice. Oh, they just switched on the lights for us. How nice of them. Thank you for switching the lights on. I'm going to do something which is just turning the battery light on, or the battery on. We're going to get a master caution from that. The reason because for some reason, when I departed St. Louis, I had a bug in the plane. It's just, it wasn't giving us our lights on the outside unless I had the battery on. There we are. Nice on that approach. And basically with a turboprop like this, add a little more power and you fly the airplane basically straight to the runway. There's no reason to change a lot of power settings until you're right over the runway and you just barely pull them back and you're pretty much guaranteed a nice landing in this airplane. Beautiful, nice. Line it out a little bit more. And just following that VASI light system on the way down. Okay. This is pretty much a good setting for our power. Maybe just a tad off of it. And start bringing the nose up. We can see now we can just crab a little to the right with our rudder. And just hold her steady here. And just let the airplane fly itself onto the runway. No need to force something. There we go. Nice and smooth. Beautiful. Just like that. Let the nose fall. And now we can pull our power back. And we can go ahead and go to reverse thrust to assist with that. Don't need much of it today. Just want to get off the runway. Very nice. And then we can pull our power back to low idle. And we'll make a right turn here. Nice 45-degree angle. And we can we'll keep our props forward for right now. And we'll turn left here. Very nice. And let's taxi to the ramp. Don't mind the master caution, like I said. Just a bug in the airplane that the battery was the only thing powering the outside lights. The generators were not doing it. The inverter's set, so I don't know why it doesn't like that per se. On our taxi in, we can go ahead and bring our flaps up. Don't need those out anymore. We can turn our landing lights off. I don't know why that one landing light just didn't want to work today. Oh, it was the taxi light is what it was. Okay, taxi light, we turn that guy on. We'll just go ahead and disregard the well, let's leave the battery on for now so we have lights just for a tad longer. We're going to taxi over to Signature, which is right up here on the right. Up there, we'll make a right at the next big intersection up there. Prop sync's off. Everybody else is pretty much off. Bleed airs, we can turn those. We'll leave them on for now. Not a big deal. Props are full forward still right now. No need to bring them back. Well, we can bring them back about halfway here. It'll assist with the taxi. And we just taxi down to Signature. Not too much longer to go here to the ramp. Let's make her right here and straighten her out, and we'll be headed right towards the FBO in no time. There's the FBO right off our nose, right there where all those corporate airplanes are parked. And Signature is right up there on the right. Okay, we killed everything off. Beacon light can come off. Navs, we can keep those on for now. Doesn't matter. Generators are off. And battery, well, actually, let's go ahead and make sure. Inverter is off. Avionics off, and master battery is off. There you have it, guys. We made it to Nashville in one piece. Hope you enjoyed the flight. If you want to see more X-Plane, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on a future flight. Take care.